Things aren't looking spectacular for Mazda at the moment as they just announced their financial update. Mazda is expecting the worst sales in 7 years after it just suffered its worst quarter in 11 years. Shares fell 7% this Friday and dividends were canceled for shareholders. And things seem to get worse when I heard that the best-selling CX-5 is likely to be replaced. However, as I read into this rumor, it may actually end up being incredible news for the company. And in today's video, we'll dive deep into the CX-5 replacement and discuss all of the changes, including powertrains, and I got a spreadsheet for that, so stay tuned. And we'll definitely go over each of the vehicles in the upcoming Mazda crossover fleet as well. Welcome back, Luxurious Fleet. My name is Kirk, and this channel is dedicated to Japanese autos. Subscribe, hit the bell icon so you won't miss out on any of my upcoming videos about Mazda and all autos from vehicles of the land of the rising sun. So most of these recent CX-5 rumors have stemmed from the Japanese scoop website called Spider 7. So let's head over, but with any rumors, please make sure to take at least a couple grains of salt with you. Mazda applied to the European Patent Office for CX-50. Successive model for the CX-5, electrification becomes powerful with front engine rear wheel drive. And here are the renderings of it. They say that it's likely to look somewhat like this. I think this is pretty ugly. These wheel arches are too Volkswagen Atlas for me. These base wheels look pretty stupid. Daytime running lights are supposed to be over the top here. But you know, if they keep this front end looking roughly the same with the Kodo design and don't overdo these wheel arches, make it much more flowing design. You can see that flowing design right here like we see in the Mazda 3, but these wheel arches just are over the top. But let's get into the news. So they're saying the CX-5 will be the successor model, expected to be announced at the earliest of 2021, early 2022. I would say early 2022 is a 2023 model, and possibly coming out alongside maybe the redesigned Mazda 6 and the redesigned CX-9. And we'll talk about that stuff later though. They say the CX-5 adopted the Skyactiv engine with high combustion efficiency, high performance, and Skyactiv chassis. And that of course was done in 2012. Of course we know about the Skyactiv D engine that took forever to make it to America and then was canceled after about a year or two. The current model has been around since 2017, and to get you guys up to speed, Mazda announced in May of 19 that it is introducing a new front-engine rear-wheel drive platform and an inline-six engine. Also things mentioned, 48-volt mild hybrid / plug-in hybrid. Noticed no mention of standard hybrid electric vehicle like we see a parallel setup in the Toyota and Lexus models. Of course, the Mazda 6 will adopt this front-engine rear-wheel drive, and here we go. We know about this 3-liter inline-six Skyactiv X. The only Skyactiv X we have currently is a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Not in America, of course. 48-volt mild hybrid is tied to that system. And they're also producing another inline-six, a 3.3-liter Skyactiv D, and I'll talk about that engine as well, even though we won't get it here in the United States, more than likely. They say that the following 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder Skyactiv G will be mated to a 48-volt mild hybrid, but the power remains the same at about 186, 187. They're also saying the 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharger, the Skyactiv G, and they say in other markets they'll get the 2.2-liter diesel that was canceled here last year. Regarding the car's name, it's quite possible that it'll be called the CX-50. It has been confirmed that Mazda has registered the naming of CX-10 to CX-90 with the European Patent Office, and the name for CX-50 can be given to the successor model of the CX-5. The nature is high, and this is translated from Japanese, so that is just saying the probability is extremely high for it to be called the CX-50. Hey guys, smash the like button, that will help me out just so much on the YouTube algorithm, and maybe it'll convince Mazda to bring this Skyactiv X technology with plug-in hybrids here as soon as possible. And guys, I hope you're watching on a big screen because we're gonna get into my spreadsheet that's gonna have so much data on it. And yeah, you might need to switch over to a laptop or something, or a desktop, or even just cast it to your TV, guys, because then you'll be able to see it perfect. And here's the spreadsheet. So we have this current lineup here, and this is mainly for America, guys. Keep this in mind because so many other models are offered in China, in Japan, in Europe. You guys have different models over there, but I'm just gonna talk about the ones here in the States because that is that makes the most sense. I'm not going to make a 2-hour long video on the likelihood of different models coming from different markets. So the CX-3 currently here in America has a 2-liter Skyactiv G, 155 horsepower, makes a little bit more in the MX-5, but this vehicle is probably going to be canceled in the United States and then renamed either the CX-10 or the CX-20 for other markets. I'm thinking probably the CX-3 will be renamed the CX-10. I think they're going to keep with odd vehicle numbers, so CX-10, 30, 50, 70 in some markets, and then 90. Here's the CX-30 that we have. It has 186 horsepower, and they also call this the CX-30 2.5S now. I guess I forgot to put that in there because they just renamed it. Now, the CX-5, of course, has this base engine, but also going to be had with the turbo, with the up to 250 horsepower, and that is also seen on the CX-9. Now over here are the upcoming engines that are likely to find its way into future, and some of these already exist, like the Skyactiv 2-liter in certain markets, not here in America, but I'm going to talk about how these are going to infiltrate this new named scheme Mazda crossover lineup. So the Skyactiv X 2-liter, super efficient, runs like a diesel. If you want to watch my video on it that I posted last week, go ahead and watch that because I'll kind of get you up to speed for this. And then this is the 3-liter Skyactiv X inline 6 that we're expecting. This is my expected horsepower numbers, and I just extrapolated about 50% power based off of the displacement difference here. Now, of course, these are going to be mild hybrids and plug-in hybrid electric capable, which I got really excited about when I heard that in this scoop news today. So I will talk about that at the end, which is really, really exciting. 3.3, this is the new engine I didn't know they were making. So 3.3 liter Skyactiv D for diesel inline 6, and based off their 2.2 liter diesel, these numbers I came to the conclusion, tons of torque, okay horsepower, about the same as their 2.5 liter gasoline, but this torque is incredible. And you're probably going to get 30 miles per gallon on this. Of course, your mileage will vary. Not coming to the US, I don't see this unless they engineered it somehow where they're able to, but with the upcoming technologies that they are bringing to the United States, I don't see them ever bringing diesel back. And then last but not least, this engine, I want them to make, but I don't think they will, and I'll talk about that here in a sec. 3-liter Skyactiv G inline 6 turbo. Like they have this 2.5 liter Skyactiv G turbo from the 4-cylinder, it would be nice that they would turbo that inline 6. Now, when they do that, it's no longer a Skyactiv X. They have to lower the compression ratio for the turbo to run reliably and not get too hot, but I don't see them doing it because of electrification. So let's get on to what I think Mazda is going to do with their entire lineup, the engine selections, and so forth. So the CX-30 is going to have, and I'm sure it already does in like Australia and other markets, has a 2-liter Skyactiv X with 177 horsepower. It has the mild hybrid. You can get up to around 50 miles per gallon with it. The CX-30 will always remain front-wheel drive platform, of course, with all-wheel drive capability. The CX-30 still will have the 2.5 or the 2.5S with a Skyactiv G with 186 horsepower. This is going to be the base engine. It's hard to pay more for a setup that has less power. Yes, the efficiency is way more, but you guys know what I mean. It's hard to pay $3 grand more just so you have better gas savings. How long would it take for that gas savings to kind of make up for itself? You know what I mean? Now here's the new CX-50, the replacement for the CX-5. Base engine, based off of scoop news over at Spider 7, it's going to have the 2.5 Skyactiv G that the CX-30 has. Then you have the 2.5 liter turbo that is currently an optional engine for it. And I didn't think that they would bring it over because of the inline 6 Skyactiv X technology. But I think this would be a little bit cheaper for them to offer. So you have the 250 horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque, and that's why it's hard for me as you guys look at this Skyactiv X 3-liter inline 6 with my estimated numbers, it's really hard for me to see how people would pick it over, you know, unless they really needed that better gas mileage. I just don't see them getting enough torque to make it competitive with the Skyactiv G, and remember there's going to be a cost increase here. Yes, it's going to be a mild hybrid as well, so that of course attributes to this, and it could also possibly get better efficiency numbers than this with this mild hybrid in it. And then here's that engine I don't think we'll see as much as I'd want to, but you would expect, based off me extrapolating the numbers from the Skyactiv G here, 325 plus horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque, that lower compression ratio, average fuel economy. They could still mild hybrid this. That's a possibility. And then of course the CX-90 is the replacement for the CX-9, and that would have the same powertrains here, except for this 2.5 liter Skyactiv G. It doesn't have quite enough power for that large of a vehicle, so the base engine here would be the current engine, which is a 2.5 liter turbo, optional Skyactiv X, inline 6, and then guys, so if they're not going to have this turbo inline 6, at least I don't expect them to, because I thought long and hard about this, and I didn't have the answer for about a day or two. I'm like, how are they going to, because the turbo 4-cylinder is just so versatile, so much power, decent fuel efficiency. How is this Skyactiv X making any sense? Yes, they need it for meeting emissions regulations and hitting miles per gallon, that sort of thing. But zooming down here, this is the bonus round for you guys. These are plug-in hybrid options. Going back to this screen here on Spider 7, remember that they said 48 volt mild hybrid and plug-in hybrid are going to be in their future lineup. We've talked about the mild hybrid integration with the Skyactiv X and with the Skyactiv G and maybe even the Skyactiv G Turbo, but what about a plug-in hybrid? And this is where it gets really exciting. So let's say they call it the 2.0 XE on the CX-30. This would be the range-topping 250 horsepower, be a plug-in hybrid, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds, able to keep that super efficient compression ratio of 16 to 1 like a diesel. Battery sizes is just a guess, but we could get up to 100 miles per gallon E running on full electric, and electric range could be about 40 miles of pure electric range. Now, what's crazy is that when you combine this technology and you run out of that electric range, but you combine it with the Skyactiv X, holy cow, this is where some crazy efficiency numbers come into play here. Miles per gallon, it's just an estimation, but I could see it being up to 70 miles per gallon. Think of how efficient it is on a mild hybrid, over 50 miles per gallon. But when you're using it on a real hybrid, this technology is going to be taken from the Toyota and Lexus plug-in hybrids that we see in the RAV4 Prime, that we see in the Prius Prime. This is a strong, strong possibility. So as these rumors keep festering, is that the right word? Evolving, maturing, festering is a negative thing, but this seems to be a good thing. So borrow that technology from their large stakeholder, which is Toyota. Toyota owns a minimum of 5% of Mazda. They share that technology with them for the plug-in hybrid Skyactiv X. And here it is on the CX-50 3.0 XE. Now we know the RAV4 Prime is very impressive, and that only has a 2.5 liter, 200-ish horsepower inline 4-cylinder. I think I already said that. When you add the electrification, it goes all the way up to over 300. Well, with this inline 6 and you add this plug-in technology, you're going to have capable of around 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in the low 4s, 20 kilowatt hour batteries, my guess. We see an 18.1 or 18.3 in the RAV4 Prime. Miles per gallon E, right around 95, similar to the RAV4 Prime. Miles per gallon on the hybrid could be up to 60 with the Skyactiv X integration. And that would smash the RAV4 Primes around 40, right? EV range probably around 40 like the RAV4 Primes. When do I expect this to be? Around 2024 model year. So maybe they come out with the Skyactiv X 3.0 mild hybrid, and then a year later or 2 years later they come out with this plug-in. And then of course this would be the same powertrain, plug-in powertrain that we would see on the CX-90 as well. A little bit slower, of course, it's a bigger vehicle, not quite as much range on the full electric side, not quite as much miles per gallon. But now last few notes here. Will we see this in any 23 model year Lexus products? And of course, I mentioned the Mazda 6 earlier. I expect these powertrains to, of course, hit the Mazda 6 in about the same time frame as it hitting the CX-50. But what about Lexus products? Well, it's a possibility. There's dust flying. We're gonna have to wait several years for another IS redesign. So 2021 IS, 2022, 2023, so 2024 is the first time we could likely see this front engine rear wheel drive platform in the Lexus lineup. And maybe they unveiled the RC redesign at the same time. They're going to be based, or at least it's rumored to be based off this Skyactiv front engine rear wheel drive platform that is also capable of all-wheel drive. Plug-in hybrids, it would be definitely designed around that. And lastly, the Skyactiv X plus hybrid plus plug-in hybrid is the reason for the new platform, for the new naming scheme, and it is going to help them become a more premium brand. Here in the United States, they're kind of in the funny place because they are priced just a little bit more than its main competitors. But at the same time, they're starting to knock on the door of the more premium brands as well for a lesser price. So they're kind of in this funny, unique niche. But with these new platforms, front engine, rear wheel drive, they seem to be like the Japanese Volvo, where they're like really, they're considered a luxury brand, but they're not maybe on the same tier. And speaking of Volvo, which I love their interiors, and they're one of my favorite luxury interiors out there, and I just like the overall designs as well. But this isn't a Volvo video, but their naming scheme is like the same as Volvo, right? The Volvo is the XC90 and the XC60 or 70 and the XC40. Well, this is the CX90, the CX50. So they're just flipping those two letters around but having very similar model names. So that's going to be confusing, just like the Infinities with their Qs and the Audis and their Qs are very confusing as well. So like always, guys, I'll see you in the comments. There's a ton of information here, and I just can't wait to see what Mazda has coming down the hatch. They're building a lot of excitement for me right now. You guys know I've been making a lot of videos on Mazda. They're one of my favorite brand. I love all the Japanese brands, obviously. So I'll catch you guys in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Arigato gozaimasu. That's still a hard one for me to say, gozaimasu. But I'll catch you guys in the comments and in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, click the join button. You get new emojis, you get badges, lots of exclusive content, live streams, posts, all that fun stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. And until next time, peace out.